I am Izanami. I take 1,000 lives a day. It is my vow, my purpose. But it was not always this way. Before I was the darkness at the end of all things. My love was the light at the beginning of everything. And before he was my betrayer, he was my other half. We used to create worlds together. I do not remember light, or even myself, only the chaos. A vast, oily sea of nothingness, stretching beyond all horizons. No land, no sky, no breath of wind or whisper of life. Just an endless, formless darkness waiting. Before the betrayal, before the rot and the silence, there was only this, the beginning. The elder gods summoned us from that celestial stillness. 2 young deities, radiant with purpose. They placed in our hands the jeweled spear, Ain no Nuboko, its crystal tip gleaming with the power to birth reality itself. Our task was simple, yet impossible. Give form to the formless. Create a world from nothing. I looked into Izanagi's eyes and saw my own soul reflected back. We were not 2 separate beings. We were a single divine thought, split into complementary halves. The sky to my earth, the action to my stillness. Together, we would paint existence across the canvas of the void. Standing on the floating bridge of heaven, we dipped the sacred spear into the churning darkness below. With each stir, the water shimmered, then shivered, and began to sing. Drops of brine fell from the crystal tip, and where they touched the chaos, the first island bloomed. The self-forming land, our first perfect child, born from unity and doomed by love. Underworld. We descended to our newborn island. Our feet touched solid ground for the first time in all existence. The earth beneath us pulsed with fresh life, warm and yielding. At the center of Underworld, we raised a pillar to the heavens, a sacred stone to be our altar. Our witness, the marriage rite, was ancient, even then, whispered to us by the elder gods in the language of creation itself. We were to circle the pillar, speak our vows, and bring forth the children of the world. My heart overflowed. When I saw his radiant face, love poured from my lips like a flood. I spoke first, a greeting of pure devotion, echoing across the untouched landscape. The cosmos shuddered. A cold wind passed through my soul. It extinguished the fire of my joy. Our first child emerged not as we had dreamed, but as something weak and incomplete. A boneless thing we named Hiriko, the leech child. It could not stand. It could not thrive. We looked at each other. The question hung between us in silence. What had we done wrong? His eyes, once my perfect reflection, were clouded with confusion. We placed our broken child in a boat of reeds and set it adrift on the endless sea. I watched until it vanished beyond the horizon, my heart breaking with every wave that carried it farther from me. Then the elder gods spoke. Their voices were not heavy with sympathy, only with judgment. The ritual had failed, they said, because I, the woman, had spoken first. So I learned the first and most cruel of all divine truths. That my love, freely given, was a mistake. That my voice was an error to be corrected. He was the sky, meant to initiate. I was the earth, meant only to receive. I bowed my head. I swallowed my voice, my joy, my very self. It became the first drop of poison in the waters of creation. We began again. This time, I held my tongue like a stone behind my teeth. I swallowed my joy, my light, the divine impulse to speak, and waited for his voice to break the sacred silence. He spoke first, as the cosmos now demanded. His words rang pure and clear across the altar of our island. When I answered, my voice was not my own. It was a careful echo, a hollow sound shaped by obedience. The universe, it seemed, approved of my cage. The ritual sang with divine harmony. The air shimmered with power, but it was his harmony. A song where I was given a part to sing, but forbidden from writing the melody. My blood became the rivers. Mountains surged toward the sky, each one a monument to my silence. My body became the vessel. My breath became the wind. Forests took root so deep, they touched the bones of the void. Oceans swelled with life and memory. Then came the kami, gods of storm and cliff and collapse. Deities of joy, deities of grief, all beautiful, all perfect, and some terribly so. I told myself that love was my fuel, that every glance from Izanami was a river, that every shared smile was a garden in bloom. But I was no longer his partner. I had become his instrument, a sacred ground for seeds he alone was allowed to sow. For a time, a shining, beautiful, terrible time. I tried to believe it was enough. That silence was a small price to pay for the privilege of creation. I was the earth. He was the sky. It was perfect. It was beautiful. It was a lie. That lie was growing inside me. The lie inside me had a name. Kagutsuchi. He does not stir. He grinds. Like the tectonic plates of a world coming undone. Like stone against stone. This is no child. This is a furnace. I try to remember the others. The kami of water, who flowed from me like a cool stream. The gods of trees, who rooted themselves in my soul with gentle patience. Those memories blur, turning to steam against the heat of what now grows inside me. This is not creation. This is consumption. My divine essence, the stuff of stars, is not giving life. It is being devoured. My inner oceans boil. My hidden forests burn. My bones ache with fractures I cannot see. The foundations of my being are brittle as glass. He watches me. Izanagi, my other half. He sees the curve of my belly, swollen with his next masterpiece. He sees a symbol of his power, of the harmony he believes he commands. And he smiles, proud of the beautiful, obedient earth he thinks he has cultivated. He does not hear the sound of it cracking. I look past him, toward the world we made. The mountains, the rivers, the children of our union. They feel like a story told about someone else. The lie of our harmony is so beautiful, so complete that it will survive my burning. The fire moves inside me, not with the kick of a child, but with the surge of liquid flame. In that moment, with the terrible clarity of a dying god, I understand. This is the price. My silence did not buy peace. It bought this. Agony enough to unmake a universe. Starting with me, it begins, not as birth, as breaking. A blade of living stars rips through my divine flesh. The fire god tears his way out of me. My atoms ignite, my breath becomes smoke, and my scream is silent. This is not birth, this is execution. I am not the mother, I am the sacrifice. My blood, boiling, spills across the world we made, and from my agony, gods are born. Not children of our love, children of my suffering, gods of jagged metal, of scorched clay, of violence carved from pain, perfect in their rage. My tears fall as molten gold. They harden into goddesses of lament, grief made flesh. My body collapses inward, a universe devouring itself. Still, he watches. Through the shimmering heat of my own dissolution, I see his face. He sees the consequence. The handsome pride on his face does not fade. It shatters, like stone against a mirror. He reaches for me, screaming my name, but his hands find only fire. I try to answer, to scream back. One final word. A question, a curse, a goodbye. But the flames devour my throat. My last words are cinders. How fitting. The goddess who was taught to swallow her voice, now as it burned away entirely. The last thing I feel is the heat of my own ending. The last thing I see is his face, twisted with a grief so deep it could birth new hells. Grief he earned, then I fall. The fire gives way to a cold I have never known. I fall through silence, through memory, past the echoes of the worlds I birthed, until even the echoes are gone. I land in the soft dust of Yomi no Kuni, the land of gloomy night. Here, the silence I learned in life is not a lesson. It is the law. It is absolute. Time is not a river here. It is a stagnant ocean. In Yomi, the silence is not absence. It is presence. It is weight. It presses on the soul until memory frays at the edges and begins to vanish. I do not know how long I have wandered these shadowed paths. I try to hold on. I whisper the names of the islands we made, a desperate ritual against the void. But the names grow heavy on my tongue. The syllables blur. The memories wear thin, like ancient silk unraveling in my hands. Yesterday, or what I think was yesterday, I tried to remember the color of his eyes when he smiled. I could not. That detail was gone, swallowed by the dust. The decay is no longer just in my flesh, it is in my spirit. The food of this place binds me to its ending. It remakes me in its image. I am beginning to forget that there was ever anything else. And then, a sound. No, a voice. His voice, calling my name from beyond the stone that seals my tomb. It does not comfort me. It cuts. It splits the stillness like a blade of pure light. It reopens everything I had sealed shut. Hope is a violation here. It burns. It screams. It is a pain so sharp and so bright, it makes the dark recoil. It is the memory of warmth returning to frozen flesh. It is the light of a world I had begun to release, crashing back into my chest. He came for me. I repeat the words. He came for me. He followed me into the space between worlds. Our love, I tell myself, must be stronger than death. It must be. I call back to him through the stone that separates our worlds. My voice is not music anymore. It is the sound of dust settling on forgotten altars. The sound of rust blooming on sacred metal. The sound of Yomi. But it is still mine. When he hears it, his joy crashes against the gate like a living wave. I feel it through the stone. His relief, his desperate love, his hope. It radiates through the crack between life and death. But his hope is a language I am forgetting how to speak. He whispers my name like a prayer he never believed would be answered. I want to run to him, to press my palms to the stone and pretend I can feel his warmth. But I cannot. I have eaten the fruit of this place, pale and soft, growing in orchards of bone. Its roots are in my blood now. I am bound here by laws older than even our gods. Still, I offer him a fool's prayer, whispered into a godless dark. There are deities here, ancient ones. They do not create, they only end. But perhaps, for a love like ours, they will listen. I will go before them. I will plead. I will offer them any price they ask. All I need is time and his trust. I explain the rules, the bindings, the sliver of a chance. I give him every reason to believe, because his belief is the only light I still remember. There is one condition, one truth carved from the shame growing like rot in my soul. I have seen my reflection in the black waters of this place. My body, once a vessel for stars, now caves in on itself. My skin flakes like ash. My fingers, which once shaped coastlines, crumble at the touch. My eyes, once full of galaxies, are now hollow wells where the darkness collects. I am not what he remembers. I am monstrous. I cannot bear for him to see what I have become. Not yet. Not like this. So I whispered through the stone. My voice breaks as I speak the words. Promise me you will not look. And then I pray. I pray to the silence. I pray that his love is stronger than I am, that his memory is truer than my fear, that for once, just once, a promise made in the light can survive in the dark. I am before the judges of the dead when it happens. Ancient gods, older than time, with eyes like empty wells. They sit on thrones of bone. Before them, even time forgets to move. A single word from their mouths could reshape eternity. I plead, I offer everything. My memories of sunlight, the last warmth in my rotting flesh. Anything, if they will let me return to him as I was. Whole, worthy. One of them begins to speak. The sound is not a voice. It is the grinding of mountains, the slow scream of earth tearing open. And then I feel it, a tear, not in Yomi, in me, a sudden rip through the center of my soul, sharp, violent, entirely separate from decay. I know that pain. It is the breaking of something I created. Then I see the light, not divine, profane, harsh, crude, wrong, a torch slashing through the sacred dark. And I understand, the comb, the one I wove for him from my own essence, the symbol of our bond. He is burning it. He is burning me to light his way. He has set our love on fire to pierce the veil of my shame. The sacred silence has been violated. The promise is broken. The judges freeze. In the silence, a thought echoes louder than any word. Their eyes turn, not to me, but to the flame. The vow is forfeit. The living cannot comprehend patience. My legs shake with the magnitude of what has shattered. The leech child. The punishment I received for speaking too soon, for loving too much. I remember our first failure. Now it is his turn. His doubt is the match. His fear is the fire. He could not wait. He could not trust. For that, he has damned us both. The light grows brighter, closer. I realize, just before he arrives, that he will not see his wife. Not the memory he so desperately holds. He will see what Yomi has made of me, what his fear has made of us all. The light finds me. It crawls over my flesh like a slow disease, a cruel unveiling. Inch by inch, it reveals what I have become. My skin hangs in ribbons, torn from the shape of who I was. My essence leaks. It stinks of the grave. Maggots feed on what is left of my godhood. I am not a goddess. I am a corpse that has not yet forgotten how to feel. But it is not my own horror that destroys me. It is his. The moment the torchlight touches my form, the hope in his eyes does not fade. It is executed. What takes its place is not sorrow, grief, revulsion, pure, instinctive, absolute. He looks at me the way mortals look at plague, the way gods look at blasphemy. His gaze lands on my hands, these fingers crumbling now with every movement. My mind breaks. I flee the moment. I flee the light. I fall into memory, a time after we birthed the key mountains. My hands raw and bleeding divine energy. He was waiting. He took them in his own, turning them gently like injured birds. He kissed each torn fingertip. He whispered words I thought were eternal. Even your pain is beautiful, he said, because it is part of our creation. He once called my pain beautiful. The man before me now says nothing, but his silence speaks louder than thunder. His eyes scream what his voice cannot, that my decay is abomination. He sees the monster, not the memory. He sees the rot, not the love that brought me to this place. He chooses fear. He chooses it over me. In the space between his disgust and my shame, something ancient dies. Our love. Unmade, it crumbles like ash between our hands. It becomes the final forgotten god, dead, silent, dust between us. He opens his mouth. The sound he makes is not my name. It is the sound of a pillar cracking, the sound of a universe breaking its own heart. Then he turns. He runs. His footsteps echo through the tunnels of Yomi. A frantic, dying heartbeat. Running. Always running. From me. From the truth. The shame that once consumed me does not fade. It solidifies. It crystallizes into a perfect, cold architecture. This is not rage. This is a divine act of creation. This is the birth of endings. I rise from the dust where his disgust left me. My body, once a ruin, now moves with sovereign grace. The maggots fall like scattered jewels. The rot clings like ceremonial silk. I am not healed. I am transformed. I am not his wife, not his memory. I am the queen of this place. No, I am its shape. He has trespassed. When I speak, it is not a voice. It is pressure. It is the shift of gravity when something ancient begins to turn. The dust lifts. The shadows bow. Yomi listens. Bring him to me. The hags are the first to answer. Their limbs are iron oaks and rusted teeth. Their laughter is the collapse of mountains. They uncoil from the cracks in the stone and spill forward like blood from a sacred wound. The thunder gods follow. Storm-wreathed titans who remember when the sky was still a child. They kneel without a word. I raise a hand. I point toward the fleeing light of his torch. He broke faith in the realm of endings, I say. Each word is a sentence. Each syllable etches itself into the bones of this place. He looked upon what was forbidden to the living, and he ran. The eldest hag lifts her head. What shall we do, my queen? She rasps. Her voice is the drag of a body being pulled through salt and ash. A smile forms on my lips. It is not pleasant. It is not human. It is the first smile Yomi has ever known. A crack across the stone face of a forgotten tomb. The birth of exquisite punishment. Do not grant him a swift death. Let his hope be the first thing to die. Let him feel the long unraveling of what he has undone. They scatter like shadows at noon. Their screams are no longer bound by silence. I follow. Not running. Walking. With the patient, terrible certainty of gravity. He cannot escape me. To flee is to move across the palm of my hand. To hide is to vanish beneath the folds of my own shadow. This is not a chase. This is judgment. This is inevitability. This is Yomi. I am no longer its queen. I am its law. His footsteps echo. A frantic, dying heartbeat in the veins of Yomi. Running. Always running. From me. From the truth of the promise he chose to break. The fear that set our bond on fire now fuels his desperate flight. He runs toward the light he chose over me. I follow, unhurried, certain, because I know the ending to this story. I have always known. He stops at the threshold. For one suspended heartbeat, the universe forgets how to move. Through the crack between worlds, I feel a ghost of sunlight on my skin. I smell the memory of rain on stone. He might turn back. The thought is not hope. It is a fire. A final bright spark that threatens to burn the last of me to ash. But he does not turn. He places his hands, those hands that once held mine, against the massive boulder that guards my world. The stone groans. Reality flinches. And he pushes with the strength of a god who wants to forget. The boulder grinds into place, not with the sound of stone, but with the sound of a final word. The sound of a door being sealed for all eternity. I arrive as the last of the light dies. My hand touches the stone. It is still warm with his life. The final trace of him I will ever feel. On the other side, I hear him breathe. Ragged, alive. Izanami, he whispers. My name, spoken like an epitaph. an apology wrapped in cowardice. I press my palm flat against the rock. For a moment, I imagine his hand meeting mine from the other side. But it is not there. He is already walking away from the tomb he has just sealed. In that abandonment, I understand. He never came to save me. He came to see, to confirm the monster fear had made of me, to justify the escape he had already planned. The boulder will never move again, not because it cannot, but because he will never try. He has made his choice. He chose the light. He chose forgetting. He chose a world where I am a shadow, a silence, a warning. He chose to leave me here, in the dark, alone, forever. A silence settles between our worlds, not the silence of peace, the silence after the breaking of all things. On his side of the stone, the world of light, the world of forgetting. On my side, the kingdom of consequence. I speak first. My voice moves through the stone like breath through bone. Reality bends to let it pass. Izanagi, his name tastes like ash and rot. I know you are there. I can feel your cowardice. It radiates through the rock like fever from a dying body. A pause. Then his voice, muffled, weak, already shrinking. Izanami, what I saw, that was not you. Not me? My voice is ice now. You saw the truth of this place, the truth of what becomes of all things. And you called it a monster because you could not bear to see your own future in my flesh. You don't understand? I understand everything. The words are not mine. They belong to Yomi. Cold, final, true. You understand only what you can bear to look at. And I have become unbearable. Silence, then a whisper, almost too soft to reach me. I loved you. Loved? I hold the word in my mouth like a corpse. Past tense, fitting for the God who runs. I still know. One word, and it breaks like thunder across the veil. You do not get to speak of love while fleeing its consequence. You do not mourn the thing you chose to leave behind. I press both hands against the stone. The warmth of his life is fading fast. Since you have chosen the world of fleeting beauty, I will give you a gift to make it precious. The gift of endings. You gave me a world of life. My first gift to you is the certainty of its loss. My voice is no longer just my own. It is the voice of this realm. It is the voice of endings. I divorce you, Izanagi. I unbind what we bound in chaos. I unmake the harmony that once shaped the world. Izanami, please. I am not your plea. I am the consequence you fled, the truth you would not face, the final law you wrote in fear. Every day, in your perfect world of light, I will take 1,000 lives. They will come to me. They will walk this darkness you could not bear to share. And they will learn what you have taught me, that all beauty ends, all love rots, all light dies. Through the stone, I hear him weeping, but tears do not move mountains. They do not unmake gods. I lean close and whisper my final vow, soft as grave dust falling. Remember me, not the goddess you loved, but the monster you made. Remember that love, when betrayed, does not die. It is reborn as its perfect and eternal opposite. I turn away from the stone, away from the last memory of light, into the kingdom that is now mine. My subjects await the 1,000 souls he gave me today and tomorrow and every day to come. Death has a voice now, and it is mine. My name was once Izanami, the mother of islands, the voice that sang existence into form. Now my name is a whisper at every deathbed, a shadow at the edge of every candle's flame. Every grave is a monument to the promise he broke. He gave the world life. I am the certainty of its end, for I am what remains when devotion curdles into revulsion, when a goddess learns that even divine love has limits. I am the price of his fear, the shape of a love that could not bear to look. So when mortals weep at graves, when they rage against the dying light, when they ask why love fades, why beauty rots, tell them my story, tell them why you die. It is because the first God to love was also the first to abandon. He chose light over my shadow, comfort over truth, forgetting over witnessing. I am his lesson made flesh, his betrayal given voice, his cowardice carved into cosmic law. The law is this: if you cannot hold what is broken, you will lose what is whole. If you turn away from beauty and decay, you will never understand what beauty truly is. If you cannot love in the darkness, you do not deserve the light. He failed the lesson, so now your world will learn it in his place, one death at a time. Remember this when the darkness comes for you. Death did not come from hatred. It was born of love, a love that was asked to wait, a love that was asked to see, a love that learned to look away. I am its teacher. My lesson is eternal.
I learned to love with half a voice, to birth worlds from swallowed words. But silence is a hungry God, it feeds on what was never heard. You held me when I shaped the dawn, when my breaking built your sky. But fire burns both ways, my love, and gods like me were born to die. What do you do with love that's rotting? What do you do when heaven bleeds? Do you stay beneath the mountain, or flee from what you're down now feels? Ooh. I became the thing you feared most, not a demon, just decay. The proof that even divine flesh will crumble into clay. You lit our sacred bond to find me, saw truth instead of memory. Love isn't loving what stays golden, it's holding what will never be beautiful again. Now I am what love becomes when it learns to turn away. The queen of every ending, the price the faithful pay for trusting light to stay.